4-3-3 formation, the key for Carrick to elevate Man United? The rise of Manchester United under the reign of Michael Carrick is an undeniable reality, breathing a new lung of life into an atmosphere that was inherently gloomy following the wreckage of the Ruben Amorim era. The English strategist has very quickly brought stability, composure, and most importantly, restored faith among the fans in a Red Devils side that knows how to win. However, looking directly at the reality through a more rigorous lens, the gameplay of the Old Trafford home team currently has not reached the optimal fluidity and the necessary imposition to confidently compete on equal terms with the top-tier rivals in the upper bracket. Carrick deserves a B+ grade for his efforts in recovering personnel and the team's psychology in a short span of time, but to reach the perfect A-star mark, he needs a tactical courage that serves as a turning point. A shift from the current system to a 4-3-3 formation. This is not merely about changing dry numbers on an electronic board or a theoretical diagram, but is a fundamental solution to optimize expensive resources currently being wasted, while simultaneously unlocking the full potential of the strategic assets at his disposal. Many conservative opinions often suggest that if a machine is not broken, one should not try to fix it, especially when Manchester United is still harvesting positive results. But in reality, the 4-2-3-1 system that Carrick is operating is revealing concerning structural misalignments in terms of personnel, particularly in the midfield area, which is considered the lungs of the team. The current central midfield duo, despite their efforts, are bearing roles that do not truly belong to their strengths or suit their physical profiles. Casemiro, at the age of 34, although still possessing world-class caliber and seasoned battle experience, no longer has enough mobility and stamina to both perform long-range interception duties and move across a wide area to circulate the ball in a system with only two central midfielders supporting each other. The excessive burden on the Brazilian veteran's legs causes him to occasionally lose his breath in the opponent's quick transitional situations. Meanwhile, young talent Kobbie Mainoo is actually a top-tier ball carrier, a player who prefers progressing the ball forward and penetrating tighter spaces rather than having to drop too deep to play a purely regulatory role from the backline. When the decision to switch to a 4-3-3 formation is made, balance will be re-established in a much more natural and scientific manner. In this system, Casemiro will be returned to his true role as a pure anchor, a position that allows him to maximize his ability to read situations and act as a solid shield right in front of a defense that is becoming fragile due to the absence of pillars like Matthijs de Ligt or Lisandro Martinez. Having a deep-lying holding midfielder will allow the surrounding satellites to be more free-footed in their approaches to the opponent's goal without having to worry too much about leaving the flanks exposed when losing possession. This is precisely the key to liberating key attacking pieces, most notably Bruno Fernandes and Benjamin Sesko. With layers of support from behind by two other central midfielders, Kobbie Mainoo will no longer have to be overly concerned with muscular defensive duties or man-to-man duels in dangerous areas. From there, he can focus entirely on his trademark central breakthroughs, turning himself into a lethal drill from the second line. Most important in this change is the liberation of Bruno Fernandes from the constraints of the classic number 10 position. Although Bruno is still playing well, always having to stand at the center of every attacking move makes him easy for opponents to read and neutralize. With a 4-3-3 formation, the Portuguese international can play more freely in the role of a wide number 8, allowing him to drift into the corridors to coordinate with wingers or suddenly penetrate the penalty area as a shadow attacking midfielder. This is exactly the ideal space for Bruno to execute the lethal assists and long-range strikes that have become his trademark at the Theatre of Dreams. The expansion of playing space means that opponents will face double the difficulty in marking a player with such intelligent movement. Furthermore, changing the formation is also the perfect answer to the Benjamin Sesko puzzle, a player showing signs of a world-class center forward who has yet to be properly exploited. It is a waste when a striker with an ideal physique, powerful driving force, and sharp goal-scoring instincts like Sesko must frequently sit on the bench or play in a structure that does not provide enough service just to make room for the pseudo-balance of wingers in the old formation. A 4-3-3 with effective support from the flanks and line-breaking passes from a three-man midfield will help players like Amad Diallo, Mateus Cunha, or Brian Mbeumo avoid stepping on each other's toes, or those of Bruno Fernandes. This creates an attacking structure that is diverse, transformative, and has more depth, where Sesko becomes the focal point of every final ball. At that point, Manchester United's attacking power will no longer be a disjointed resonance of individuals, but a synchronized operating system, where every position has the space to shine and complement one another to the maximum. Alongside the attacking benefits, a three-man midfield also brings an optimal protective armor for a defense currently experiencing much volatility. In a context where Harry Maguire and Lenny Yoro frequently have to face the high-speed strikers of the Premier League, having the midfield tightly controlled with a deep-lying defensive midfielder and two central midfielders supporting high-intensity pressing will significantly reduce the pressure on the center-back duo. When the central area is neutralized, the opponent is forced to push the ball to the wings, where United's fullbacks can proactively intervene with cover from the wide midfielders. Reduced pressure means that individual errors from the defensive stand-ins will appear less frequently, helping the team maintain stability throughout the 90 minutes of play. Michael Carrick, with the mindset of the elegant midfielder he once was, certainly understands the importance of mastering the space in the center of the pitch. Courageously changing while achieving good results is always a risky and high-pressure gamble, especially at a club that is always under the media spotlight like Manchester United. However, for Michael Carrick, this is a necessary step that affirms the stature of a great strategist, one who is not satisfied with narrow victories or the momentary brilliance of stars. The 4-3-3 formation is the affirmation of a proactive, modern, and sustainable football philosophy that he wants to build at Old Trafford. It is the way for the Red Devils to escape dependence on mere individual moments to become a cohesive, powerful collective with a distinct identity. When Bruno Fernandes' potential is fully unleashed, when Benjamin Sesko is placed in the most favorable position to score, and when the midfield becomes an impregnable fortress, Manchester United will truly return to the posture of a conqueror. Carrick's bravery on the tactical board during this period does not just decide the success or failure of a few matches. It is the foundation to rebuild a glorious empire, returning the team to its rightful position in the great flow of English football history. Manchester United is reviving, that much is certain. But for that revival to become a glorious revolution, the turning point named 4-3-3 is the final key that Carrick needs to boldly insert into the lock of success. With the support of the fans and the determination of the players, this shift will be a powerful manifesto sent to the entire Premier League that the Red Devils have truly awakened and are ready for greater goals in the near future.